Hi! Today I'm gonna share my Netflix favorites with you. You know when you have a time where you just are scrolling through it for forever and ever and you can't find anything you want to watch? I've had the opposite this month. I've actually been watching stuff back to back, getting into series, watching the whole thing over a weekend. So I figured I would share some of my favorites with you. I have the whole list here. I'm gonna start with Anne with an E, which is the adaptation of Anne of Green Gables. I heard so much about this in the build up to it, and then I didn't hear anything about it, turned on Netflix, and there it was. And so I watched the whole first season. If you haven't heard about this before, this is a children's classic that so many people love and I have never read before. And didn't read it before I watched the show. I figured I would just go into it and watch the show on its own, and I absolutely adored it. Now sometimes it is really nice to go into a show or a film without having read anything that it was based on, because then you sort of, you know, you judge it on its own, and I, for one, absolutely loved this. It instantly kind of reminded me of like Dr. Quinn or House on the Prairie, or like stuff that I used to watch when I was a kid and I had no idea what I was watching really. If you don't know what this is about, by the way, it's about Anne, who's an orphan. She's always lived sort of working for these families and having quite a hard life, and the way that she's described, or she describes herself, is that she's quite skinny and she's got bright red hair, and she thinks that that is the worst thing about her. And there are these sort of like older man and woman, their brother and sister, they're looking to sort of adopt a boy to help them out on the farm. And then Anne arrives by accident. There was somehow there was a miscommunication. They thought they were getting a boy and instead they get Anne, and Anne, when she finds out, is devastated and is determined to prove to them that she is as good as any boy and that they should keep her. She is such a lovely character. She's so over the top. She is probably a little bit like I was as a kid. I was probably like too loud and over enthusiastic. It's one of the shows that's really heartwarming and really sad, and I just really enjoyed it, and I hope there's more. It looks like there will be more, so we shall see. The second show I watched was Riverdale. Lots of people were talking about it, and sometimes for me that's a reason to not watch something, but sometimes I just want to see what it's about, you know? So I started watching Riverdale, watched the first episode. I was like, this is interesting. It's very highly stylized, if that makes sense. Like the colors are incredibly bright and everything's shot very dramatically, and I kind of liked the look of that. A lot of people are saying it's kind of like Pretty Little Liars, but I haven't watched Pretty Little Liars, so I can't really make that comparison. I think the characters are supposed to be based on the Archie comics. Have never read those either, so absolutely no idea about any of these connections. But it is set in a small town, in a high school. It has the typical queen bee, the cheerleaders, the jocks, all that kind of thing. There's also this sort of mystery going on. There's a boy who died and they don't really know what happened to him. And I actually really enjoyed it. And I think one day I watched like 5 episodes in a row. So if you are looking for something dramatic but also quite fun, something that's very gifable, then check out Riverdale. The last series I want to talk about is one that I actually finished yesterday evening, is How to Get Away with Murder. I watched season 1 probably when it came out ages ago. Watched all of it, really enjoyed it. Then when season 2 came out, I wasn't too fussed and I just didn't watch it. And then recently I was like, you know what? I kind of maybe want to get back into it. So I watched the last 3 episodes of season 1, moved on to season 2, absolutely hooked. Again, have been watching this over the last week, like 2 or 3 episodes a day. And season 2 was quite intense, let's just say that. So if you haven't heard about this show circles around this character called Annalise Keating, who's played by Viola Davis, who is so amazing in this show. She is a professor and a criminal attorney, and she basically always picks a group of 5 students, sort of mentor, and she teaches a class called How to Get Away with Murder, hence the title. And the way that the first season works is that you sort of see that that group of students somehow is involved with the murder of her husband. You find that out in the beginning, and then the whole season is like leading up to what actually happens. In the second season, another event happens. Alfie Enoch, who played Dean Thomas in Harry Potter, is in it, and Lisa Weil, or Paris in Gilmore Girls, is in it as well. So the cast is fantastic. Also a really diverse cast, which is amazing, and I got so swept up into the story. So if you're into crime related shows, check it out. A film that I watched randomly because I was like scrolling through and happened to see this was Imperial Dreams, which has John Boyega in it. It's about a young man who comes out of prison. He has this young son, and it's about how it's so hard to get back on your feet and how the whole system just seems like it's totally against you, from him trying to get a job, a driver's license. He's written a book and he's like trying to do his best for his son, and it's such a sad film, but it's absolutely amazing. The acting is really good, so I would highly recommend that as well. And then finally, a quick mention for a documentary series. I haven't watched all of the episodes yet, but I watched 2 that I really loved, and it's called Abstract, and it's basically about design and everything around it and about the specific people in the different industries. The first one that I watched was Paula Scher, I think that's how you pronounce her name, and about how she basically designed, I don't know, everything in New York. She's done stuff for the New York Metro. She is just an amazing graphic designer, and hearing her talk about all the work she's done, seeing examples of it, and then also her talking about her early career. I think it's good to hear about the early careers of successful people, because not everyone lands their perfect dream job in one go, and sometimes for 10 years they just do like a bunch of different stuff. So I loved seeing her work and seeing how she works now as well. And the other one that I watched, which is quite interesting, which I didn't think I would be into, was about footwear design and working with celebrities, so I thought that was really interesting as well. And that was my last recommendation. A lot of stuff to get through, but if you have, you know, a month to spare, I'd say check them out. So now that I've watched all of this, I need something new to watch. If you have any good Netflix recommendations, especially for stuff that's available in the UK, do let me know. Leave a comment below. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will talk to you soon. Doei!